Hello and welcome. I'm Erin Cuthbert, footballer for Chelsea and the Scotland national team, and you're listening to the Blue Day podcast.
Fellow Chelsea supporters, here at the Blue Day podcast, I am honoured to introduce my guest on the show today. 25 years ago today, he was part of the Chelsea team that won the FA Cup. Plus, he was part of the Chelsea side that won the Cup Winners' Cup and the UEFA Super Cup, both in 1998. He made 145 appearances for the club, scoring 49 goals. It is none other than Gustavo Poyet. Gus, welcome to the show. Absolutely delighted to have you on the show. How are we?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be talking about Chelsea and about my time at Chelsea.
Well, let's get to it, shall we? Before we discuss your time with Chelsea, I want to discuss about you as a person going into becoming a professional footballer. What was that moment in yourself that you decided you wanted to become a professional footballer?
Well, in Uruguay, it's very simple. We start playing football, most of kids at the age of 5 or 6 in nearby your house. There is different neighborhoods where you have small teams that you go from the age of 5 to the age of 12. At that time, you play in the beginning 9-a-side because you are little in a 5-a-side pitch, and then 7v7. And then at the age of 12, now earlier, but at that time, at the age of 12, 13, you needed to go into a professional team, to the academy, okay? Where in Uruguay is very concentrated in the capital in Montevideo, and I was lucky to join a team called River Plate, but not the River Plate everybody knows in Argentina, the one from Uruguay, with a very good academy. So I done all the process, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, during that process, you see teammates that they're going and you still in, so you got a better chance. But realistically, I would say when they called me for the under-19 national team, that was the moment that, from your age group in the whole country, you are selecting one of the 20. You're thinking, well, maybe I got a little bit of a chance here. And then when I came back from the South American competition, where we didn't play very well, but I signed my first professional contract at 19. So at that moment is when you're thinking, okay, yeah, now I need to stop the studies because I was in the uni at that moment. Not a lot, but I went. and that was the moment that, yes, you say, okay, I'm going this way, no football way.
And who were your idols growing up as a kid watching football?
Well, there is a player in Uruguay, probably in England, they don't know him. In Spain, they do because he played a couple of years, one in Rayo Vallecano and one in Valencia. It's called Fernando Morena. He was a striker, played for a team, Peñarol, where I was going to watch the games, but it was the kind of idol or the kind of player that I would watch the game, but 90% of the game, only him.
Right.
How when the team was defending, when he was moving, when the team was attacking these movements, it was like watching only one player. And I was lucky enough that in my first season as a professional, second part of the first season, he joined as a coach. So he was my coach. So for me, it was like, whatever he said, it was true. I didn't care, even if I disagree, okay, yes. And it really helped me, to get that international transfer. So it was very important in my career, yes.
Let me fast track now to the summer of 1997. You had signed for Chelsea on a Bosman free transfer, which around that time was still kind of new because it didn't come in until 1995. How did this move come about for you?
Well, I was a player that I always, twice in Spain, I went to the end of my contract. So when I arrived in Spain, in Zaragoza, I signed a 4-year contract. I finished it completely. And after finishing, I renewed 3 years. And again, I went to the end, right to the end. Around April, Easter time, it was an agent who came to my house and said Chelsea was following 3 of the players, especially 2 that we were finishing contract in in Zaragoza. And so I was a little bit aware, but you don't really know. And I remember one day saying to this person, Paul Hodgett, I said, okay, Paul, you know what? Call Chelsea now in front of me. And I said, okay. He got the phone and he called Colin Hutchinson. Do you remember Colin Hutchinson?
Yep.
CEO at that time it would be. And I remember he was talking. Me, I didn't understand, so I was just looking at him. He put the phone down and he said to me, it was a Monday or Tuesday. Say, Thursday, here in Zaragoza, they're coming. And I went, okay, yeah. Like, it's true, And on that Thursday, we went to the airport. We picked up Colin Hutchison with this person, Paul Hodges, and we had dinner. And then we went to the hotel where he was staying. And when they started negotiating the contract, I started feeling, I got a decision to make here, and that's how it started. And 2 weeks later, everything was signed, agreed. Everybody knew as well in Zaragoza. I kept playing, being myself, me. I didn't stop playing. I didn't stop tackling. I didn't stop trying. So it was luckily a very good end of the season as well in Zaragoza for me and for the club. So everything went very well. So yes, 29 years old, no English, 2 kids born in Zaragoza, 4 and 2 years old, going to England, big decision, massive decision, but very good one, I have to say. Very, very good one. So I don't regret it at all. It was the best decision I made, yeah.
And then once you signed, sort of one question I did have to ask, what was it like the first few days at Harlington? I bet that was a bit of a culture shock for you.
Yeah, look, the training ground Zaragoza wasn't fantastic, but was better than Harlington, for sure. I remember the funny part, we can say, the only way for me in the first 2 or 3 days to communicate with someone, it was in French with Fran Lebert.
Right.
I couldn't speak English. It was no Spanish speaking. So, okay, I tried with Italians, but at that time, no. So whatever I needed to say to Frank on French, and he will tell me. We went pre-season to the south of England to a golf course. And that was another shock. I was putting my bag on the bus, and I see in golf clubs, like thinking, where are we going? Pre-season is about running. And yes, there were many playing golf. It was a shock as well for me. And after 3 or 4 days of pre-season, I remember Ruguli said, okay, we train well in the morning, proper, and we run, afternoon off. I said, okay. I didn't understand. And we were eating and people leaving. And I was thinking, what is going on? And that time, Dan Petrescu arrived a couple of days later. And we created our own language, okay? Mix of Romanian, Italian, Spanish, English, French, whatever. But we communicate. And he said, golf. I said, what? Golf. No chance. No. And so I finished and I went to see, and then there it was. Ruguli, Gianluca Vialli, Gianfranco Sola, Fran Lebert, everybody playing golf. And it was a bit of a shock because in Spain, at that time, no one football player played golf practically, or we didn't know. Right. So it was also a welcome, for us. Brilliant.
You mentioned Ruud Gullit. He was the player manager at the time of your arrival. What was he like as a coach to you?
It was amazing. I mean, it was incredible. I've been trying for now probably nearly 16, 17 years. I've been coaching to be some kind of like him in terms of separating football from life. He was amazing on that. I cannot do it, but he was amazing. He was a guy who was arriving in the training ground at 8 o'clock in the morning and only football until whatever time we needed to leave, Harlington. And if you meet him in the afternoon in London, he wouldn't talk about football. Incredible, eh?
That's interesting.
He would say to you, no. Now, no. I remember once it was Robbie Di Matteo had a restaurant. I don't know if you remember. And it was the opening of the restaurant. And that afternoon we won, I think it was a semi-final of the Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Cup at that time in Arsenal. And I went to the opening because I was injured with the cruciate ligament. And of course, you get to the party and you see the coach, and the first thing you say, oh, good game today. And I say, hey, he got a glass of champagne. He said, "Now opening of Roberto Di Matteo restaurant. Forget about football. Monday." I thought, okay, like I want you to talk about football. So it was very good in that, in separating that part, and it was very relaxed, and he was always trying to convince us to play. He really enjoys seeing his team playing football. You can see in his face. He was delighted when we play and when we play well. So, and for me, my first coach in England, it was good because he tried as well to play me in the middle. I don't know if people knows this, but in the middle we played Dan Petrescu, me and Dennis, and Roberto Di Matteo left, and it didn't work. The second game, I think we put Wisey left, and I played with Robbie, and it didn't work. And then we went to Holland to play a tournament. At that time, we had the Umbro.
That's right.
Maker, yes, and he played me left, and we beat Newcastle in Holland, and he worked it, and Rubuli said, "That's it. Petrescu, Di Matteo, Di White, Poyet. That's it." And that's it. That it was for I don't know how many years. So it was new as well for me. I needed to learn how to play wide left, but I was coming inside all the time, as you know. But it was a nice process of trying until he got the team.
Did he outline his plans for you when you first had a conversation with him once you signed and there was talks of other players potentially coming in? Did he sort of give you an indication of what he wanted from you?
Yeah, because they told me they watch one game live and 2 games on TV at that time before I agree. Probably they follow me before, but they named three games specifically. One was against Real Madrid in Madrid, where, to be honest, I didn't touch a ball. But I kind of mark Fernando Redondo, the midfielder, the Argentinian Redondo. Apparently, they said I'm marking well, so I was pleased. Then they watch a game away at Bilbao when I scored, and I was very good that game. And one more, I think, I don't remember the other one. And he commented to me what he saw in those games and why he brought me and what he wanted me to do. So he had a very good idea of my style of playing and that pushing me to get in the box as much as possible. Okay, because as everybody knows, we were playing like a 4-4-2. But the second striker was Gianfranco, and Gianfranco was a lot going wide to create or coming in, and he needed another one in the box all the time with Gianluca, with Mark Hughes, and for me it was ideal. I said that was my dream, so it wasn't a problem to do that because it was probably what I did best in my career.
Now, you would make your debut for Chelsea, of all places, at Wembley against Man United in the FA Community Shield. Despite us losing the match on penalties, for you personally, what was it like to play at Wembley?
Well, Wembley, I said this many times. For me, it was the old Wembley. The old Wembley for me was a unique place for many reasons. The history, the walk from behind the goal, that long walk into the middle of the park, it never finished. The fans always full. The grass, I remember you couldn't see a little hole in between. It was always spectacular. So it was a very, very, very special place for me. I always had that feeling of watching the FA Cup from abroad with the red carpet and all these people and royal and blah. And I said, well, maybe one day I'm gonna be there. And lucky enough, I played the last FA Cup. We won it. That's right, the last one in that stadium. But from that game, I remember that I struggled with the pace of the game, really struggled. And Ruud told me at halftime, I was not getting forward and I was not getting back. I was in the middle. And then a terrible kick from Roy Keane kicked me in my head. It was like a welcome to England, like proper thump on my head. I mean, I was even in the air, so I don't know how Karate Kid or whatever. So it was like, okay, you need to get stronger here because if not, you're going to suffer.
And from after that game, it wouldn't be long until you would score your first goal for Chelsea away to Barnsley. I believe we'd win 6-0. Vialli scored, I believe, a hat-trick. I seem to remember. It must have been pleasing for you to get off the mark for Chelsea that early.
Yes, it was special because for me it was new, playing away from home in that kind of environment, Chelsea away. We played very well. We scored goals. I was trying to get. It was a completely free header, but the goalkeeper saved it, and I got the rebound. It was also a learning process because if I'm not wrong, Gianluca Vialli scored a hat trick, and the following game he didn't start.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, here it doesn't matter what you do one weekend. Maybe next weekend you're on the bench. So you needed to be there. I learned very quick that you couldn't relax. You needed to be at your best all the time, or you can be out. And that was confirmed maybe my second year. When a game I was at Stamford Bridge and down the line on the left, and someone from the bench told me, "Come on, Gassi, come on, Gassi." And I checked, and it was Gianfranco. I said, "Gianfranco's on the bench." I mean, Gianfranco said I can be one game on the bench. I can be 10. So that makes you think, I need to be very good. I need to be at the top level, because you're out. You're at Chelsea, and it's players coming in and out constantly, and any day can come one is better than you.
In the October, you would pick up a cruciate knee ligament injury, which would sideline you for quite a spell in that first season. Yeah. How damaging from a mental side was this for you, knowing that you've just recently signed for the club, you've just got a few games under your belt, and then this happens?
It was probably one of the toughest time of my life, because we changed country. I was still not speaking the language. I remember, answering the phone at home. At that time, I was living just outside London. I was picking up the phone, and if somebody say "hola," okay, blah, blah, Spanish. But if they say "hello," blah blah blah, and it was like a bomb. I would call my wife and give it to my wife, because she spoke English before we arrived. So from nothing, we were training, nothing, on my own, 2-touch game. I turned, my foot didn't move from the floor. My cruciate ligament broke. It was a shock. I remember Gianluca convinced me to go to Belgium to have the operation, because he knew the doctor very well, Dr. Martens. Things that you are not prepared for. I traveled one morning with the physio of the club. We arrived in Belgium, in Antwerp. We went to see the doctor, and the doctor said, "You got cruciate ligament, blah, 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 blah. Tomorrow morning, 7:00. And I was not ready for an operation. I just traveled to see the doctor. So I didn't take anything with me. I was just dressed. That's it.
Right, yeah.
No wash bag, no nothing. And the physio needed to go back, because Chelsea was playing that weekend. So I think it was a Wednesday Wednesday. And so I stayed on my own. And I remember walking alone in Antwerp in the afternoon, dead. I was dead. I was completely dead. And even next morning, I checked into the clinic alone. My wife needed to stay at home with the 2 kids. They were small, 4 and 2. So it was all a mess. My wife calling family to come over, me trying to be, terrible. So I was alone in the hospital. I went into the theater on my, alone. You don't know what's going to happen. First operation. But luckily, Dr. Manta was a genius, an absolutely genius. And all the bad spell I had at that time, in an incredible way, helped me to adapt to England. And I'll tell you why. First, I got Terry Byrne, who was a masseur at that time at the club. He helped me every day with the injury in the afternoon. So I was going in the morning, doing a little bit, eating, and then in the afternoon, going to the hotel, the swimming pool, or different things. And I started learning English with him, 1-to-1. Right. That was my proper, even if I had a teacher, no, the teacher was Terry. Also, I was able to watch games live, sitting in the stand and learning, okay? Also, that bad feeling of changing coaches when you are injured, because Gianluca left, and Ruud Gullit left, and Gianluca got in. And you got that feeling that if you find the team, then when you come back, you're out. Because it doesn't matter what you've done before. It's a new coach. So it was all a process there that you don't need to push me, but it really made me concentrate in the recovery. And when the doctor said to me, if you follow my steps, you're going to be back in 5.5, 6 months. I was back in 5.5, and I was delighted because I was able to play semi-final and final of the Cup Winners' Cup.
And you touched on it just then before. By the time you did return to first team action, there was a change in the coach. Ruud Gullit was relieved of his duties. Vialli came in. What was your
shock?
Yeah,
My
I was going to
reaction,
say,
shock.
what was your
I was
reaction
shocked.
to the news? Yeah.
Look, during the recovery, Chelsea was very open because we were too many foreigners. It was very open for you to go and see other people. So they allow me to. For example, in Christmas, I got injured in October, so November, December, 2 months into the injury. I remember Rulli saying, "I want you to go home in Christmas or Uruguay." I said, "But Ruud, I'm doing the recovery, let me do the recovery." No, you go home. Take your family, go home. And I went to Uruguay, and I was obviously training every day like crazy, but you are with your family, you are summertime over there. So it was completely great for me for the mental part. And then I come back like, thank you, and then gone. And then you're sitting in there thinking, wow, and now? So it was strange, but the idea was to keep watching and to keep learning and to keep smelling what Gianluca wanted before getting back. And I remember joining the team. I was training like crazy, but joining the team just before Betis away. So I traveled with the team. I trained with the team. The day before the match, pre-match training at the stadium of Betis. I had a 50-50 with Andy Meyer. Do you remember Andy Meyer?
Yes,
Proper
we've had him on the
50-50.
show, yes.
And when I went through that and I keep running, the physios and everybody said, okay, he's ready. Okay, his knee's okay. Okay. But we won. I was in the stand. I was not even on the bench. I was in the stand. I remember we won. We tore under floor on fire. Then we come back to London. We played the weekend. I was not involved. Then we went to Vicenza. I traveled with the team. I was not on the bench again. Okay. We come back. That weekend, I played, I think, 30 minutes again. And then on second leg, we had Di Matteo suspended and Petrescu ill, or the opposite. One was suspended, the other one was ill. And kind of Gianluca said, okay, in you go. All the best. Because if Dan and Robbie, they were fit, I don't think I will start again. I cannot see Gianluca to put me in that game, but it was like force to push me. Well, everybody knows, probably the best atmosphere I had at Stamford Bridge by far. The fans from that time, they will tell you, obviously, after winning the league and Champions League, it's difficult, but at that time, that second semi-final, it was probably the most incredible atmosphere we had at Stamford Bridge.
I want to talk about the Vicenza game because in that game we did go a goal down in the second leg, and then you would score the first goal for Chelsea on the night. Nice rebound, by the way, because obviously I believe it hit the
it
crossbar
was
and
quite
came.
wet.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah. And then two crucial goals by Zola and Hughes. You mentioned you mentioned the atmosphere. We actually played in our away kit because of the kit clashing as well with Vincenzo. Yeah. You mentioned the atmosphere. In terms of that night, did you feel something was special that was going to happen with this team based on other results, but also that night, how Chelsea did come back from, in essence, 2-0 down?
Look, I think we, at that moment in time, after that game, Vicenza, I think we knew as a group our style, we knew our strength, we knew our weaknesses. So we were a team that it had the whole season to grow and get into the final. I won't say in the best shape because Gianfranco got injured 3 weeks before. That's why he didn't start the game. But we were. It was clear, our team. Okay, it was clear. Okay, we had a problem as well at the end with the left back that Danny Granville played because the other ones were injured. But it was clear that we were a team that we were very organized, that we have 4 in midfield that we were playing all the time, Dan, Dennis, Roberto, myself. And we have, Gianfranco, well, we didn't play, but, the players are from Gianluca Torrent-Flo and Mark Hughes that they will score goals. So we were like solid. We knew our system clearly, and we knew even if it was a very good Stuttgart, we were a team that it was difficult to play against because we were big, we were strong, we were experienced. And that was the game. The game was, a few chances, but not a lot. A few good saves until, the little genius got in and scored the goal. Also, it's interesting to say to people that Cup Winners' Cup, that European Cup, at that time, for us as a players and for Chelsea fans, was massive. But you don't imagine how massive it was. Because, we were that type of, FA Cup, yes, the year before. The Coca-Cola Cup, yes, that year. But this was different. This was Europe, okay? It was a big team. So it kind of make us be a better team, bigger. Like, now Chelsea is going to start winning trophies and nobody's going to stop him. Okay, we didn't know Abramovich and Mourinho after, but at that time we had that feeling of growing strongly. Yeah, very strong.
It was a special night for Chelsea, and the next season it would also be a special night for Chelsea, but also for you personally when we would play Real Madrid in the UEFA Super Cup. Now, I've managed to get archive footage of the entire match from the BBC, and it came up with your goal. And people who I've spoken to in the past said it was a slight fluke. He didn't hit it properly. I've seen that. I've seen the enough clips. It was.
I'm sorry, no, I disagree.
It was bang on. It was absolutely. It was a brilliant strike. You came off the bench to score because
yes,
as well, and it was a late winner. It was within the last 10 minutes. What was that like for you to go through?
Look, I need to go before because it's incredible what I'm gonna say. We started the season and we went away to Coventry and we lost 2-1 and I scored. Then we play at home against Newcastle. And I don't know how I didn't score, but the ball was bouncing on the line and Babayaro tapped it in, but it was my best chance. And then we go to play Real Madrid, and in the morning of the game, Gianluca called me and said, I'm not starting. No, what a bad news. You don't imagine. I was terrible that afternoon. It was terrible. I was like really, really upset, but really upset, And I think from after lunch, probably until the time of the game, I was convincing myself, like, saying to myself, give me 10 minutes and I will show you. Give me 20 minutes and I will for sure show you. And if you give me half an hour, I'm going to show the world that you're wrong, all that in my head. So when we started warming up in the second half, I was like ready. After 5 minutes, I was ready, And when they called me, I went there like madness. I mean, I knew Real Madrid, from my time in Zaragoza very well. I knew everything, so I couldn't believe I was not playing. And well, the action is like a kind of a break. I tried to play to Gianfranco. Gianfranco have a short rebound, and I just stand. And I was waiting for Gianfranco to give me. But I promise you, I hit it well.
Yes,
the kind of because I scored incredible goals at Chelsea, spectacular goals. But I hit it firm, and for the goalkeeper being so big, to go in low, in the other post, it was a difficult one. The celebration was for Antonio Pintus, our fitness coach at that time. Now he's in Real Madrid. Because we were stretching all the time. We didn't stop stretching. So we went there and we stretched for Antonio. Okay, we are stretching. And the funny part of that night, I was there, yes. I never scored in a final until that day. So it was very important for me. I scored in semifinals. I scored one in Wembley against Newcastle. I scored in Spain in semifinals. Never in a final. So I was a little bit in my head. So scoring the winning goal, it was very important personally. Against Real Madrid even more.
Absolutely.
But the best part is that the players, they play the whole game. The Fran Leboeuf, the Marcel Desailly, the Danny Wise. They were very upset, but especially Fran was killing me. Because I won man of the match. And I play only 20 minutes. So how is possible? But that happened, in football. And it was a car. Do you remember when they used to give you a car? And I didn't know what to do with the car. I mean, what are you gonna do with the car? But it was funny because when I left the dressing, I said, "What did I do?" And they took me to the press conference and they gave me the key, and
that's fantastic.
And then I donated to Uruguay, which it brought into the equation a call from the prime minister of Uruguay, the president of Uruguay, he called me to say thank you. And me, it was like natural coming from me, but yeah, it was interesting that night.
That's fantastic. Because Chelsea had that success of winning a few trophies within that short space of time, was there a belief amongst the group that we've got something about ourselves that we could not just mount a title challenge, but potentially win the Premiership?
Yeah, we were ready after that season, the third season, we were ready to go for the Premier League, and we were getting closer. I'm telling you, we were getting closer. The only problem we had is that we were getting older as well. We were many of the main players. We were over 30, and I mean, you are experienced, but you're missing other things. So it was like the time was we didn't have time. We didn't have 5 years to win it. So we needed to win it in, for example, my third season. And we were getting very close, and because we were starting competing better, especially against Man United, and we were in positions where we say, okay, when we qualify for the Champions League, that shows that you are better. But it was always something missing. I think we were outstanding on the day. I think we were great to watch on the day, or fantastic in one game, like a cup game. We were great. In the long season, obviously we were not that kind of team that probably we were missing to win 1-0 ugly. The champions that normally they had a bad day and they win anyway. We couldn't do that. We needed to play well all the time. And that's something that you need to win the league. So, but the feeling was, I tell you, it was, no, we must win a trophy every year. It was our aim as a group. We must. It's not negotiable, no? It doesn't matter if it's the Charity Shield, but we must. And that belief, I think, was installed in that group, led obviously by Dennis Wise.
We must touch on him because it would be rude not to. What was Dennis Wise like as a captain, but also as a person for, the foreign players coming in? Because again, new culture, new experiences. What was he like to integrate you guys into, as you said, the English culture?
Yeah, look, as a person, easy. He's a friend for life. We still in touch today. We talk a lot. We know each other very well. We respect each other very well. As a football player, it was unique. I think he was the type of, sometimes a team needs someone like that, like him.
Yes.
Which is, yes, proper. But I will tell you a little story. I said it a couple of times, but maybe people doesn't know properly. We had a key moment in our season. It was our second season. I remember because I think it was Didier Deschamps. It was in that season. And obviously, when you have 3 or 4 Italians, when they are together, naturally they will speak Italian. Or me, when it was Chapi Ferreira, I would talk to him a little bit in Spanish. Naturally, in the French, the same. It was natural. It was not like it was a problem. But it was true that maybe some people would come, and because they had that possibility of speaking other languages, they won't learn English. Because you had the contact.
Yes.
And it was a game that something happened and some people was speaking a different language. And on Monday morning, meeting at Harlington. Boom, everybody up. We didn't know what happened, like we were relaxed. Dennis was furious, because someone was speaking in some language and the name Dennis came in the conversation. So he didn't understand and he didn't like it. So he said, from now, he said the time, everything. When you pass the gates of Harlington, you cannot speak a different language than English. Every single one. Until you don't live there, you are not allowed. And it was proper, eh?
Yeah.
And it was not negotiable, okay? and the team took it very well. So all the ones that they couldn't really communicate, they went to learn. And that brought us together and that made us a better group, And it was an amazing decision, but it was typical of a leader, no asking, no trying to convince you, telling you have to, you must. And it was a great decision. I learned a lot that day with Dennis White in front of us in there. A lot.
That's fantastic. What a story. Let's continue your run on especially the 98-99 season. One game that stands out for me when I watched the season reviews recently was the 5-0 hammering
Oof.
against Arsenal at Highbury in the League Cup. You would score 2 goals. That was not just a great result for us, but it was around that time where we was having a very good period of having a very long unbeaten run in that period of the season. And you would come up with some crucial goals during that time as well.
Yes, I was feeling confident. It was a great season for me. We knew each other very well. The team was formed. I remember in that game, as soon as we set up, when you set up before it started the game, and we saw, I think, was Gary Neville was trying to mark Gianfranco Zola. So they changed the fullback, the left to the right, and I thought, oh, it's little. So you started communicating with Dan Petresco and say, then if you get to the end of the pitch, just put it in the back post because I'm gonna kill him. The size. How many seconds? I don't know how many seconds. It's still there, no? 37 seconds or 47 seconds. I mean, the first ball that Dan Pretez could go and had the chance to cross it over, boom, we score. So, look, I always say that we are privileged people because we make people happy just winning a football game. But again, I like to remember little things from different moments. And the thing I remember that day, the 5-0, is leaving Stamford Bridge 1 hour after because we couldn't leave with the cars because Fulham Road was closed, obviously. Getting out of the Stamford Bridge and turning right and going around to get to Brompton Road and go to Windsor. I was living near Windsor. And traffic, obviously, Chelsea, Man United traffic. And we were in a road like that. I remember because I had my 2 kids at the back. And it was a guy walking alone with a beer in his hand, singing, "We only won 5-0. We only won 5." Wait. And we were moving a little bit, and he was walking. And we were moving a little bit, and I had it for 200 yards, singing along, and it was the happiest person, ever that night. And then you say, how lucky we are, no? With what little you made the night for at least that person. I mean, more, but that person, how much it meant for him to beat Man United 5-0. Imagine us inside the pitch and being able to score goals. So, yeah, it was a great day. And again, I told you before, there are some steps. The Cup Winners' Cup, the European Cup against Real Madrid, qualifying for the Champions League, beating Man United 5-0. That's another one. It makes you, without you knowing, you better, you're bigger, you're more important. So yes, tremendous night. Yes, to be honest, not many people will think if you say, "Do you know that one day Man United they go 5, Alex Ferguson, at Stamford Bridge?" That was us.
And at the end of the 99 season, we would secure Champions League football. That was huge for us, considering that at that day, that period in the Premiership, there wasn't the top 4, there wasn't even a top 5. There was probably 2 to 3 at that
Yeah,
point.
3.
And
It
for
was the first
Chelsea,
year they put the first year they put 3, and we beat Leeds. I remember I scored
yes,
against Leeds at home, and we qualified. And again, with all respect to the teams in Europa, UEFA at that time, Europa League or whatever, when you play Champions League, you play Champions League. You are at the
yes,
top.
there was a
You're
big
gonna play.
difference. Yeah.
I mean, maybe we talk later that it's nice in the Champions League that we play after that they were, I mean, incredible. For me, especially the biggest one away at Galatasaray. That was
We'll talk
was
about
a big,
that.
yeah, that was incredible because everything that happened during the first leg and everything, how they went to the airport to get us and try to make it difficult for us, and how we went on to win it. So it was something that we had the stories from Marcel Desailly playing Champions League of people that had played before, but the ones that we didn't, we were like, whoa, now Champions League, that is going to be amazing. Yes.